were given a life to live to the fullest. And what will your book be about when the last chapter closes? That can only be measured by the impact that you had on others, the legacy you leave, the lives that you affected, the things that you created. That type of person that made the world better, that lived life to the fullest, a miracle in motion. It's not a sad time. It's a celebration of their life and returning from where they came. I had a very humble beginning. Came from very little. I had great parents. I had an incredible dad who was a football coach. He's in the Hall of Fame. And he was a very positive influence to believe that you could do anything that you wanted. I studied biology. I was a marine biologist. I almost died at sea at 21. Almost got washed overboard in a storm. I decided I don't want to be Jacques Cousteau. Went on a vacation with some friends, Bermuda. I saw these big houses and boats, and I asked an English gentleman, who are those people? He says, they're entrepreneurs. They are the alchemists of the economy. I said, I want to be an entrepreneur. I thought if I made it, if I pulled myself up by my bootstraps and made it, I would change the world.
And you know, in each one of our lives, there's magic moments that make the difference. When an act of faith by somebody else created a new reality. The first magic moment was when my wife turned to me and said, JR, time and time again, you work yourself to the hilt for somebody else. You work so hard. Why don't you do this one yourself so that it can be pure? You know, we are setting out to change an industry.
We started in our little home in North Carolina. It was myself and JR, of course, and Mark and Steve. And Steve was about 13 years old. Mark was just still finishing up college. And it was a struggle. We were all under one roof. You know, our kitchen was our customer service area, our bedroom was our shipping facility.
It gives me great pleasure to introduce the next speaker to you. I sat up all day trying to figure out what I should write. And it seems like it should be easy, but it wasn't, because I still get flustered talking about JR.
If I were to do anything over again in my life, and I had the opportunity to redo anything, I'd find him again. Because what a perfect person to lead such an incredible organization of people, somebody who has so much passion, so much heart. And I just think that's what makes us special. It's what makes us great.
It's one thing to marry someone for love, and another to marry someone for life. To marry someone for respect, loyalty, friendship, and love. I am so fortunate I have all of that with you.
You will experience miracles in your life. I just think back to Lauren, and she believed in me so much, a magic moment went off and we started this company. I didn't want life to pass us by. And we had to gain the conviction to realize we had to do something while we're living.
When you have a leader who is just relentless, tenacious, that inspires me.
I always believed that we could all do great things together.
I think back where we started and where we've come. It's been a heck of a journey. It's hard to describe.
Meeting JR for the first time back in 1991, he told me about his vision.
Our whole mission was to change people's lives.
I never met a man with such drive, such stick-to-itness. I remember him saying that one day that people will be able to buy anything they want 24 hours a day through this mall without walls.
And months were going by and I began to think maybe this idea is ahead of its time. And it brings a tear to my, to this very day, it makes me cry to think, Mark said, don't quit, don't give up. I'll hold down the fort, you go out and make it happen.
That I took wrong turns and I fell down and I've even failed. But one thing I never did, I never gave up. I never gave up.
Following JR's bold vision was really the ride of my life. I knew early on that JR was a true visionary and genius because everything he predicted came true.
Geniuses think like this, you know? And regular people sometimes think more like this. Sometimes he said things that's taken me years to figure out. And when I figured them out finally, I realized, like, wow, I just got it.
You know, when I first started, I remember going to a conference and I see this guy, JR, riding around the stage. I'm watching, I see, and he's sweating and passion is coming out of him. And I sat there and I couldn't get out of my chair and I said, this is a guy who can lead like nobody else.
When I first saw JR get into the human hamster wheel, you know, to demonstrate how people go nowhere fast with the 45-year plan. You know, so it's a great demonstration that he does. And then of course, a magic moment for me was when he asked me to be in the hamster wheel. That was a lot of fun and I'll never forget it.
To me, the tightrope story was just JR just proving that if he set his mind to doing something, he was going to do it. And he knew that there were hurdles involved in doing that, and he could fall, but he wasn't going to fail.
One of my most proud moments is when my husband was on Bloomberg. He was just a superstar, and it was such a proud moment for me and I think the whole company, and a memorable moment, one that stands out, that he was just flawless, perfect.
There are thousands of families that live their dreams because of JR's vision. Everyone can see how powerful that vision was.
And in those years when we started the business, believe it or not, we had Amber. Wow. And the most beautiful little girl. And we took her on this journey, and she's blossomed into an incredible entrepreneur. One of the greatest magic moments is your children. And certainly Amanda and Amber have been magic moments in my life.
The most important thing that we have in this life is family. I mean, no matter where you are in the world, no matter how successful you are, if you don't have family, it means nothing. And I think that's what drives this whole business. I think that there's no place that's more of a paradise or a haven than being with people that you love. And utopia to me means family.
There's a love for the water. Owning a yacht is symbolic, but it's relative. I went bankrupt before. I remember our first Christmas. I said, I can't buy you anything. But next year, I'm gonna fill this house with gifts. We're gonna have a house on the water. Thing that people don't understand, if you put that vision and hope and belief into your mind, the circumstances to materialize it actually appear in your life, one step at a time. People would look at me and say, well, how do you know this is going to work? And my answer was simple. It'll work because it's an idea whose time has come, and because I'm going to make it work. Our realization was that we must succeed so that others could realize their dreams. So we dedicated our life to it. We get an offer every week now for anywhere from $600 million to $1 billion. And I have to write them a letter. I'm sorry. Market America is not mine to sell, because it's the hopes and dreams of people, and if I was to sell it, I'd be selling you an empty shell. And I've always been a dreamer and a visionary with forward-looking thinking that is often before its time and way out there. In the last century, what the world thought of as impossible has repeatedly become reality in a way of life. The real benefits of these accomplishments were not realized by the generation in which it occurred, but by the next generation and those to come. The next generation will reap the benefits as it becomes a way of life, and they leverage the possibilities of being able to create their own economy and sub-economies. On every tombstone, between that birth date and that death date, there's a dash. The question is, what are you going to do with the dash? Because you're living the dash right now. Everybody dies, but not everybody lives. But if you have influenced thousands of people to be financially independent, changed the world, left a legacy, left a mark on the world.
The thousands of people's lives who have changed, the belief that they've instilled in us, that's everything. Anybody who can say that they have that, I don't think so. I don't think there's many people who can say that they actually have the belief of thousands of people.
You lived your dreams. You gave your family what they wanted. And if you provided them a better life and a hope and instilled in them dreams, inspiration, integrity, you feel better about leaving. You've lived a life worth living.
Do you know that you'll never become bigger than your dreams? You'll never become bigger than your dreams. That's been the driving force for me ever since I was a kid. And your dreams will never become realities without belief.
Every day is a milestone. Everything that we do every single day is another achievement, another step in the right direction, another family that we've changed, another person who became an entrepreneur.
The story that I love is about a little boy walking down the beach line. The beach is covered with starfish. And he's walking down the beach feeling bad that these starfish are going to suddenly have their life ended. And they did nothing wrong. He says, I'm going to save them. Went down and started throwing them back in the water. The elder of the community walked down faster than the kid and caught up with him. He said, son, what are you doing? He says, I'm saving the starfish. It's not fair. Their life shouldn't be over yet. He says, what difference are you going to make? You're not going to even get a fraction of them. He said, well, let me tell you something. It made a difference to that one, and it made a difference to that one, and it made a difference to that one. We can make a difference to that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. Make the world a better place, and have a blast. We need to be kids again. Superheroes, in a different spirit, in a different way, is what we need to do. Visualizing, dreaming.
Never forget that I love you guys with all my heart.